Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and it's going to be a show about video advertising, product demand, and consumer behavior. And today, I'm going to dialogue a little bit with you on what I think makes a good video ad. So, one of the first kind of instructions on how to create an advertisement is from David Ogilvy. And in his ad slash guide titled How to Create Advertising That Sells, he pulls together a framework or concepts within a framework that if you add them to your advertisement, it's going to work well. Brand image, the big idea, innovate. He goes into specifics about television, what works in television, like video demonstrations, slice of life, what works in print. But I think if you boil it all down, and if you take a look at the bare bones of an advertisement, I think the core components of what needs to be an advertisement is just a few things. It just needs to first spark curiosity, and immediately after sparking curiosity, it has to hook the audience. This kind of sounds like basic copywriting, right? It has to hook the audience, and the hook is the big idea. Then after you hook the audience, you continue to provide content. The content depends on what you want the ad to do and what you want the ad to communicate. And I might talk about messaging and communication objectives in a different video, but you can follow this David Ogilvy PDF as a guide on what to include in your ad. But I think the content portion of it, the core thing is that it just shouldn't be boring. The person who's watching should, after they get hooked, should just watch the whole thing through. And it should be long enough to create an emotion. And that's it. I think if you include those things, you have a good, solid ad. And you might be wondering, well, will this ad actually do anything? And to answer that question, I think one of the core things you kind of have to look about when you're running video ads is the component that branding has a much bigger play in video ads than it does in print ads or just static banner ads. So if you look at it from a long-term campaign perspective, you'll be running different video ads over time, and that branding will build. I feel like video ads have a much bigger branding component to it, whereas regular static ads are used more specifically for direct response or for click-throughs. So there's a lot written on how to not be boring and how to come up with a big idea or how to hook the audience. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but I want to talk a little bit about sparking curiosity. So how you can spark curiosity is two things, among other things, is one, phenomenology, and two, the context of the media where you're running the ad. Let's go backwards and talk about context of the media first. So Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about this. And the thing that I picked out from listening to his Ask Gary V's is that wherever you're putting content, the context of the media is very important.
I've always known that context, and I didn't know how to express it, was the whole game, right? For example, you have a feeling towards me right now that is different than you have towards AJ because we engaged together last year. So we created context. And I believe there's an enormous opportunity, there's a war to win the most context with a consumer or an end user. And
so if you're running an ad on a news source, it should feel like a news article. If you're running an ad on Facebook, it should feel like a Facebook post that someone would actually put. Now, this isn't always the case, but I think you should include it as a really big factor when you factor in how you're going to create the ad. The second factor that I want to talk about to spark curiosity is this idea of phenomenology. It's a concept that I first heard of from the Obey founder, Shepard Fairey.
Phenomenology is Heidegger's theory that people have become numb to their environment and they need novel experiences to reawaken a sense of wonder and resensitize them to the implications of things and the nuances of things. So I started in 1989 with this really silly sticker that started as a joke between a couple of skateboarder friends and me. And I put it on some stop signs in Providence, Rhode Island, and all of a sudden, there was a thing in the newspaper, what is the Andre the Giant sticker campaign about? And I started to realize that when you take for granted the kinds of communications you're going to see in public space, that something novel actually causes people to question the communications in public space altogether.
So it sounds like opposing ideas, right? On one hand, you need to take into account the context of the media and post content that's already similar to the content that's already there. On the other hand, you want to apply phenomenology and create ads that are not similar, that are different, that makes people reevaluate something that they take for granted. Now, you don't have to apply phenomenology to the entire ad. This is just a sparking curiosity section of the ad, which is the very intro, the very beginning of the video ad. So I don't think you necessarily need a revolutionary ad that's really challenging the entire way. Just thinking through phenomenology and applying a small amount of difference just at the beginning of the ad in order to spark curiosity and give you that 3 or 4 seconds of attention before you hook with the big idea. So that's it. That's all I have for you today that I'm thinking about. Please subscribe to my channel and look forward to more videos about video advertising, video advertising, video advertising. Thanks for tuning in.